And good evening, or good night, or good morning, or good last Sunday if you're Cozzy watching in whatever time zone he is in. It is the American Scouser TV post-match reaction to Liverpool versus Arsenal. A 2-1 victory for Liverpool for the patchwork team that we have to bring out there. But another good result for Arnie Slot's machine, as Sir Z calls him. We have Tamuch and the boss, we have Anan, and we have Sir Z, and probably the ghost of Darwin Núñez around somewhere, and the injured ghost of Thiago. But what we do have is another victory, and we also have, I think it was a good performance. Boys, I mentioned on the Discord, which everybody should be signed into and logged on to and watching and contributing to, that the beginning seemed a bit Brendan Rodgers ball, a bit too much tippy tappy passing around the back, which is not something I like. Tippy tappy passing in the other half, that's always a good thing. But we got the goal, and then we got the second goal, and maybe a bit of a mix up there in the back for Arsenal to get theirs. But we'll start with Tamuch. And number one, we look really good defensively. It's such a different defense than we're used to with Klopp. And it's definitely not a Brendan Rodgers defense, but we look like Arnie Slot has a plan for defending, like a literal, actual plan. And number two, which we could answer later if we want, but Arsenal don't look very prepared. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be quite cheesed off with how they played against us, because we essentially just did them with our kids again.
Yeah, I don't know about Arsenal. This is the first time I've seen them all preseason. And honestly, in the past, we've said it about our preseasons, right? If the team is established, I think preseason means a lot less. And I would consider Arsenal at this point established. So is City and stuff like that. I think preseason is more important for teams like us and United and stuff like that. Maybe Chelsea, like teams that are getting new managers and stuff. I think for us, in terms of performance, yes. For the defense, I mean, what was that? The beginning of the second half and stuff, like the shape. I mean, we looked like prime Sean Douche Burnley over there for a second. The way we kept compact and, like did not let them pass in between the lines and stuff like that. So that's definitely good to see. A lot of things that I really like seeing, because I can almost see it being even better when you have, I don't know, on the left-hand side, Diaz making those runs behind and stuff like that with the speed. And, Jota just came back, so he wasn't his best. But, I mean, like Núñez making those runs up the middle with his speed and stuff like that. You kind of like envision that. Will he finish? We don't know. But, in terms of having that speed over the top when we play those long balls, those make it a lot more dangerous. I kind of like where we say either come and press and we're going to go over the top of you, or you're going to sit back, we're going to come over there, we're going to crowd the midfield and make something happen that way. So I kind of like having two different plans against teams. So, yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of good stuff to see. But I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I still look over and over and over again at this team and say this team will need two McAllisters. I don't know if he can bring his brother and he can play just as good or whatever, but I feel like we need two players like McAllister. So McAllister and another in this midfield to play quick, comfortable on the ball and stuff for the style. Because we saw again today, I think Endo is that player, for example.
I'm pretty sure Gary McAllister could still put a pair of boots on and get into that midfield. But and then I made a joke that Jota seems to have the yips now, which means Darwin Núñez is getting the golden boot next season. But Tamucci makes a good point. Obviously, we will never slight Jurgen Klopp on this channel, and anybody who does needs a good slap across the face with a wet fish. But Arnie Slot seems to have a plan where you can see where Darwin Núñez can succeed, maybe a little bit more than he did under Klopp. There seems to be patterns of play that will get him into positions that he likes to play in, maybe more so than the chaos, which Darwin Núñez is great at defensively, but maybe not, doesn't help him when it comes to the attack. There's a structure there that we kind of didn't have under Klopp, which was the beauty of Klopp. We're not getting Klopp Mark II. That's clearly a thing there, isn't it?
Yeah, so remember, before even Arnie came and started, this report came out and said he's excited to work with Núñez. And this is one of the projects he wants to take on. I think now we can see why, because he has a plan for him. He has a game plan that'll fit his style. That's one. But two, the playing from the back. I don't know if you guys saw the training video from 2 days ago when basically what they're doing, he's having the center backs continue to pass the ball to each other to invite the press. And as soon as the press comes out, they split it. And then your midfielder, in this case, is going to be McAllister, will take the ball, turn, and distribute. We're going to see that a lot. So there's two things to it. One, that's new. We're going to see something very new in our playing style. But two, how long is it going to take for it to be figured out? When will teams figure out that this is what they're doing? They're inviting you to press you. So instead of pressing this way, we're going to press in another way. So it's exciting, but also it's a little scary at the same time because we don't know what's coming. But again, we don't have the full squad yet. It's preseason. It's really not that deep. So it doesn't concern me. But yes, I'm excited to see what Nunez does. And I think, maybe because I'm a Nunez fan, but I think Nunez is going to strive amazingly under slot, and I think we are in for a new recharged Darwin that is going to play very well with Szoboszlai. You guys figured I was going to say that. But yes, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Yes, Arne has it down when it comes to defensively and our shape in the back. Just imagine how beautiful it's going to be when it's Big Verge and Kwanzaa. And yes, I think those are going to be our starting center backs.
I think, to be fair, you figured it out in 90 minutes. So if the rest of the Premier League doesn't figure it out over the course of the season, they should all be hiring you next year.
Yeah, honestly, no, don't hire me. Just fire all their managers. I still shouldn't be there, but they also shouldn't, you know.
So Z, Carvalho got the second goal, but I'm personally not impressed. Just the fact that he got a goal is not enough for me. He seemed to switch off at times for the limited amount of minutes we knew he was going to have. As everybody in the first half would have had. He just seems that the dirty work is too beneath him almost at times. He clearly has talent, but Klopp was one for workhorses, and I believe Arne Slot's probably going to be the exact same. That the style may be different, but you still have to work your socks off in the team. What was your opinion on Carvalho's performance tonight, as good as the goal was when it came?
Same as you, really. I think it typifies what a Man United player is. Just very petulant, very, it's not my fault, or if I don't get the perfect pass, I'm just going to blame everyone else. Today's performance, I was kind of scared a little bit. I know it's only pre-season, but Arsenal's team was a good team. And, Arteta was really emotional. He's an emotional manager. I know he probably hated losing today, even if it is a pre-season. I think psychologically it's like a one-up on them. Like I said, we beat them with kids. They're playing with Odegaard, they're playing with Gabriel. Trossard came on. Like, these are like, world-class players, and they couldn't break us down. That defense, Van der Berg, we didn't. The commentators didn't even mention his name. That's how good he was today. That he didn't have to even be mentioned. And Kwanzaa was just everywhere. So, I'm more positive with this team than I have been, preseason than I was with Klopp last season. But yeah, it's all the signs are there.
This shit is getting scary here. I'm sorry, but this is getting what is going on? What is this is way too positive of a Z.
Tamuchin, I wanted to ask though, one of my things is for a new coach is that if you can see the ideas of a new coach with not his best players, with the second string or the youth team, with youth players that come up, if there's a system that's recognizable and you can see what they're trying to do, that's a mark of a good coach, because it means he's getting his ideas across to players who are lesser talented maybe or lesser developed than the first teamers, who are obviously who they are because of what they can do. This team in the second game, let's not count the Preston one. That was it should have been a behind closed doors friendly kind of a deal. But you got to put the content on the LFC TV, to justify that $65 a year, whatever it is this year. But in 2 games, we already look. We were very well coached under Klopp, but we already look like a very well coached Arne Slot team that's missing its first team players.
Yeah, and I think it's a matter of how well how fast are those guys going to adapt. Obviously, you assume that world-class players that are not there because, they were in their like finals, semifinals of like big tournaments are going to find it easier to adjust than, let's say, Harvey or Carvalho or somebody like that. You assume, but at the same time, you are getting some players who are older back and old dog, new trick kind of thing. So that you can look at it whichever way. I do like seeing like totally different patterns of play from what we're used to. You can kind of like see it's happening. I wish, and I was telling Angie about this as we were watching, because I only saw it on 3-4 occasions where it like really zoomed out. But I wish there is a Arne Slot camera or something like this on these preseasons, because we see a bunch of stuff, but within that, he is trying to still tweak that. He's not happy with what he's seeing. I mean, a couple of times I saw him, for example, and he does this, and I was like, see, this is just like all those freaking videos I watched for 6 hours, where he was calling Harvey to come tighter. Like, he really likes to get that midfield where the ball is really tight, overcrowd the hell out of it, and then isolate like the right winger, which would be like Mo and stuff right on the other side. So a couple of times he was calling Harvey was one time, Carvalho was one time, to come closer and make that tighter and really compact and filled. I wish there was a camera on him so we could see more of what else he wants implemented. But even without that, you watch these games. I mean, heck, even Anana's figuring out how we're playing. Right? But no, like seriously, but there's like, like Anana's saying, like you see that pattern and, now teams react. Well, there is a reaction to that, like if they do that, then we go out wide. Like I like how wide our right back and left back is when we're passing with those center backs. So if you're going to come up the middle to block McAllister, then we're going to go to Robertson. We're going to go to Trent. Like there is like a counter attack for everything that the other team is going to do. The only thing to see, I think, moving forward would be when a team sits back and we have that ball, are we going to be able to break the lines? Or as fans who are used to more direct play, are people going to get impatient when we're moving this ball around seemingly aimlessly? We won't be, but to most fans, I think they're going to be like, we're just passing it. I mean, how many times have they Henderson only passes sideways and stuff like that? It's not going to be as direct. I worry about games where it's the 60th minute in Anfield. It's a tie game. We're trying to break it down, and people like the natives are getting restless because we're not going direct.
Real quick, you won't get that camera on him in the preseason, but we think alike. I recorded him a lot when we were at the game because I was behind their bench. Dude, he is extremely active on the touchline. Every minute or two, he's calling a player. It's a friendly, and everybody, like even around, is like, dude, it's just a friendly, relax. But he's standing up and he's calling the players and he's changing things. And multiple times in that first preseason game against Betis, he switched players' position. Within the first half, in the first 45 minutes, he moved Carvalho around, he moved Salah, he was doing too many things, and he was so active. So it's a good call on that, because this dude, you could tell he's building something, and you could tell he won't stop until he gets it perfect, but he's still cooking it. So we're in.
It seems like a micromanager.
Yeah.
It seems like a very micromanager.
Well, remember, he's not a manager; he's a head coach.
A micro head coach.
And he's a proper head coach. So what he's doing is he's properly head coaching. It's so beautiful to see. But he's
you
a bit
guys
of a
think
dickhead.
that's because it's preseason? It's almost like practice. I mean, Mecca, you coached a lot, so you have the most coaching experience out of all of us, I think, because down at the higher level.
That's me. My team's lost.
Well, no, that's why you're here with us now,
yeah.
And that's why you went to the studio and became a pundit. But no, I mean, no, seriously though, like there are a lot of coaches who will do all that at practice and stuff like that, and when the game time comes, leave it to the players and say, "You guys know what to do." You think we're going to continue seeing this?
No, if he's a good coach. I think if he's a good coach, it leads off the more they get it, because you don't want a complete micromanager, because eventually it becomes learned helplessness for the players. They kind of like with Rafa. If Rafa wasn't telling the players what to do, they either didn't know what to do or they just went, crap, we'll just do our own thing anyway. Which actually tended to work a lot, but it's not good for coach-player relationship. So I watched Feyenoord once we knew that he was like the main candidate and the probable coach. I watched Feyenoord for the last, whatever it was, 5-6 games of the season. And he definitely doesn't seem somebody who's overly manage. And I think it's just because it's pre-season and he's trying to get everybody. Always like it's an extra training session for him.
Yeah,
the results are nice, but for him, here's an extension of the training session. So I hope that it does ease off, but if it doesn't, that's a worry. But I think it will. He didn't seem that way at Feyenoord at the end of last season. So I think it's just once everybody figures out what it is he wants and where they're supposed to be, he'll still be active, but it'll be more reminders rather than a Rafa style. Stand here, go there, move there, pass him the ball. Shoot, as boot it, as they say in America.
Get it out.
But here's the question I want to ask Anando, from a Mo Salah perspective. The slower build, we definitely have a clear, slower, more methodical build up in midfield, and I think it suited Salah a lot better because now he is not the focal point. It's not always going to go through him first, the attack, so he can take a rest. And when he got his goal, he actually looked fast again for a change. Do you think that's what's going to be? So that's got that slower build-up is actually going to get, maybe even just for one last season as a Liverpool player, it's going to get the best out of Salah, and we're going to see the Salah we remember.
I think so. I think a slower build-up puts less pressure on him because with the fast build-up, it means he needs to be the fast guy. He needs to get the ball. He needs to do the running. Now with a slower build-up, he can position himself. He can still get the ball to score the goals, but he doesn't need to be the one that takes the ball all over the place to get to those places. And I don't know. I have a feeling with Arnie, we might see Salah playing more of a central role in some games when Nunez isn't starting or Gakpo is. We might see Salah playing that center. It's just a weird feeling I have because in the first game he kind of did that a little and then moved him back. And I think this is something we might see. Now, obviously, Salah will always play out wide, but I have a feeling with the way the system is building, Salah could have that little Firmino role when you may not be out wide. You'll just fall deep, get the ball, and go in. So I think this is an exciting system for Mo, and I think we will again see another one-season wonder from Mo.
So there were times in the press, if we look back at it when they had the wide camera rather than the close-up cameras, where we had 4 at the back and 5 pressing up front and a definite number 6. Right now, Endo is the guy. Is this a thing where we should be disappointed by the end of the transfer window if we don't get somebody to compete with Endo who's a genuine number 6? Because that seems to be just to jump on top of that. If anybody noticed at the very start of the game before the kickoff, we had 4 defenders and a sweeper. Go look back at that. We had somebody right between the back 4 with the back 4 and Kelleher. So there's clearly some really new thoughts coming in here. But that 4-1-5, that could take a lot of teams by surprise, couldn't it? But it does require a proper number 6.
Yeah, I think that sweeper thing is probably a plan B in case we don't get the DM that we want to get. And obviously we've got Batic, and who knows how well he's gonna come back into the team and so forth. But personally, I'd be disappointed if you don't get someone. Just because it's a position that everyone in the whole world can see that we do need. I mean, Endo, he plays well and he gets you the. He's good. I'll have him for closing out the games, but we definitely need someone more dynamic than Endo. His pace is really starting to show. A lack of pace is really starting to show, and getting them silly bookings here and there one day is going to cost us big.
Timuchin, the Nat Phillips is always a conundrum because he seems like a good lad, but not the right standard. But Vandenberg felt aggrieved, it seemed, by some of the press things, but he's looked quite good. Would you keep him?
I mean, the way things are looking, yeah. I mean, he fits, right? I mean, he fits a lot better than Nat Phillips fits. Nat Phillips, he puts his head everywhere. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, Nat Phillips will do well at a team that plays more defensively, head everything out that comes in. But I do think I just like how he is on the ball. And as much as we use the center backs and build up in the back to kind of like invite that pressure, you want the player comfortable on the ball back there. And that's not Nat Phillips at all. So I think he fits more. Will he be the one that stays at the end? I'm not sure. Will they just like try to get, the 15-20 for him and do something else? I'm not sure. But, and I mean, obviously there was Gomez rumors today too, because I think Gomez can do well in that role as well, because he's comfortable with the ball in his feet. But going back to what Sir Z was saying, I am still adamant that I don't think we are looking for a number 6, like the number 6 that everybody else is looking in terms of fans. I don't think we're looking for a Fabinho. I really think this system requires a guy that's more like Mac. Like you saw Szoboszlai in that role today a lot, doing a lot of defensive work. One thing with Szoboszlai is he's not as solid when he goes into a ball 50-50. He goes in as an attacking midfielder, right? Not as a defensive midfielder. I think that's not McAllister.
I think coward is the word you're looking for.
Well, yeah, you said that, but yeah, he just does not go the same way, because I think, obviously as an attacking midfielder, if you don't win a 50-50, it's not as horrific as a defensive midfielder. But there are times this midfield, especially, and then the right back is coming in there, is constantly moving and constantly evolving. So you saw when Endo came in the second half, there were times where, because that's constantly moving, Endo ended up where he would be almost like an 8. And that's not where you want Endo. That's more not Endo wants Endo, because he saw where he was and he backtrotted right away because he did not feel comfortable. That's why I feel like we need another player like McAllister or Szoboszlai, more McAllister, like better defensively, that can, so when they go up to that role, they can do what's needed there. They can play that as well. I think we're looking for a player that can do 6 and 8, not just a guy that's gonna put in some tough tackles and block and win the ball and stuff like that. Because when we build, it's important, and when we stop, it's important to have that guy in there. Where's Thiago when you freaking need him, man?
Yeah, exactly. In the hospital. Timuchin talked about the fullbacks being genuine fullbacks, and we've talked about that number 6 position being somebody that needs to be a lot more comfortable in all 3 midfield positions almost. Is there a possibility that Trent is going to be that player, and we're going to actually play with Rams? With
Bradley.
You know what? Can't finish one goddamn show without.
We have to have some sort of controversy in preseason.
I think we made 22
I got the
minutes.
controversy. Just ask the question.
Is Trent that player, or do you see Trent fitting in with the system as a proper fullback? Because Slot seems to play with proper fullbacks rather than any kind of weird hybrid.
I'm here for the controversy. I think Alisson needs to be a right back because we need to have a Brazilian flair in that squad. No, listen, I honestly, the more I watch Bradley play, the more I think Bradley will start at right back.
Yeah.
I genuinely mean that for no controversy, because personally, I want Trent at the right back. I don't want him nowhere near the middle. But with watching the way Bradley plays, he plays slot ball. He plays a proper right back defensively and offensively. It's everything a Cafu would have been 30 years ago. And I think this is what Arnie wants. So I think Bradley starts at right back. Now, does that make Trent the number 6? Maybe, because we started the game today with Jones floating around the 6. Could that be Trent? It's very, very possible. And I'm starting to lean towards it. We'll see when he get back in preseason. I think his first game back will be Sevilla. We'll see how that goes. But I think Bradley has secured his right back spot, and I believe Trent has taken the number 6, and Endo will be his backup. That's why they didn't take the offer for him, and now Arne will work on Trent being that number 6, the one that exactly what Timuchin said. He said, we don't want a standard 6, a Fabinho type or Mascherano type. We want a McAllister type. That might be Trent. That might be your hybrid number 6, where he'll give you some defensive play, but he'll give you some passing and creation. With the way he's trying to set up from the back, invite pressure, keep passing, pressure comes in, play it out. That could be Trent that receives that ball. We'll see. But yes, I think Bradley's starting at the right back, and I do believe Trent becomes a midfielder under Slot.
Did we not see enough of this at the Euros?
60 minutes is not enough.
When he receives the ball with his back. Trent
but where does that leave the rest of the midfielders?
And he can lift his head up. Look at the positions Bradley was in today. A lot of times he was in the box making the overlapping run over Mo and stuff. That's where you want Trent. The problem is when you ask the very first question in the beginning, playing like this without our guys. The key is when you get your guy, will he buy into the same thing that everybody else is buying to? Is Trent going to buy into saying, this is what we need? You're going to be a right back. You're going to be the overlapping run. When they pressure the middle, we're going to go out to the wings, hug the touchline, make the overrunning lap, and we cut into the middle. And that's, I think, what we should get out of Trent. We've seen Trent when he receives the ball with his back to their opposing goal, he is not good.
Can I just say two things, though? What's an overrunning lap?
Did I say over and over? You know what I mean.
The one where you overrun and then you say lap.
The second thing is, though, shouldn't there be a major difference between being a number 6 and being coached by Arne Slot, and then being a number 6 and being coached by Gareth Southgate and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, to be fair?
If Trent goes into midfield, what does that leave? Elliott, Jones, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. Like, what are you going to do with him? What are you going to do? You've only got one spot left. Macca's guaranteed.
If Trent goes in midfield,
he's not getting. No, it's left to hang. You cannot put Trent in midfield. It's not going to happen.
It's not that you can or cannot. It's what he's going to do. Because can and cannot, we cannot be here right now. It's past my bedtime. But what's going to happen? I think
you can't fit 6 players into one position.
Here's what I think happens. Look at everything Trent's posting on social media. He's bulking up. He's working out. He's getting. This guy is
building a roller coaster.
Himself. He's building himself to be a midfielder. He's building his body to be that non-traditional number 6.
No.
Where does that leave Macca?
That's vomit.
It leaves Macca next to him and Szoboszlai in front of them. That's what that does. Then you got Elliott. Focus.
Oh, that killed me, man. He's on a roller coaster.
You got
he's signing Real Madrid jerseys for fuck's sakes. Look, don't follow his Instagram to figure out where he's gonna play.
But seriously, maybe that's what's happening. They've moved on, but I don't think so. I think Trent will be a midfielder. We've got Szoboszlai and McAllister playing in there, and then you've got their backups are going to be Jones, Endo, Harvey Elliott. I think it's the reality. I really think it's the reality of what's happening. I don't think Carvalho is going to stay, but I do believe.
So who did you put in midfield again?
It's going to be Trent, Szoboszlai, and McAllister.
So Harvey's gone.
Harvey's gone.
And Jones has got no way. He's not getting rid of Jones.
Well, I don't think...
I would just say that we're thinking about this in very old school 1990s terms. It's a squad game, so like there might be a first 11, but it's gonna be. I think there's gonna be a lot of rotation.
Yeah.
So nobody's gonna claim a spot except for Becker, Allison in goal, and Mo on the right.
And McAllister.
I heard this shit before.
and Trent is the number 6.
And I think Trent is guaranteed, honestly.
I wouldn't see. I would actually back you up on that, and I think you're going to be proven right by the 5th game of the season.
I don't know. Don't you guys see where Bradley is constantly throughout the game? And I feel like that's what I mean. Like when I say, man, instead of Carvalho, if Diaz was there, there was a ball that's I think it's like the 8th or 10th minute or something that Costas puts in front of like Carvalho. I'm like, holy cow! If Diaz gets that 1-on-1 with Ben White over there. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, that's a local fan. So tell your wife to get off internet. But I think that's why I'm like envisioning all those situations. There was a ball, for example, on the right wing where he did that overlapping, right? He did that over the run on the right hand side where Mo saw him. He crossed the ball. I feel like if that's Trent, that ball probably gets to Jota.
I think though that you are correct in theory, but I think Trent doesn't see himself as that player anymore, which is the big difference. I think a young Trent, yes, but I think he's being tainted now by that number 6.
Because of people like on.
Because of Bellingham, that's why. Because of freaking Jude, he wants to be just like Jude, but differently. And I think whether we like it or not, I think that's what Arnie wants, and I think that's what we're gonna see. You never know. It could be he could be left back for all we know. We don't know what that Dutch bastard's thinking. So everything is possible
as left back. So there's that.
Yeah.
I think before we wrap things up, I think it just remains to kind of say, hey Jude, don't make Trent sad.
He's making him. He's making us sad. Hold
They're
on,
making us sad. Yeah, that makes us
It's
sad.
making me mad.
dude. Trent's gonna get paid. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he does.
But we have bedtimes and work to go to in the morning. Certainly, I do.
We don't. That's why we're doing a 24-hour pod-a-thon.
That's what I was going to get to.
Overrated.
Susie has the best background with us today, but I was going to ask Timuchin to tell everybody about the 24-hour American Scouser Pod-a-thon that for some reason you're letting me be on for the few hours.
Because somebody's going to keep us awake. By the way,
It's because I'm the only one with insomnia.
Nobody wanted to do it.
I'm going to put this comment on there because Quick Kicks is my new favorite commentator of the hour right there. Everybody knows the answer, right? Okay, we'll move on. Sorry. Go
Right
ahead.
back. But he was young.
I like that time when he was a right winger in the academy.
I like it when he was a ball boy holding Carragher's hand. Here we go.
that
That
was-
was his
yeah,
best
that was-
season.
that
Go
was
on.
great.
Prove me wrong.
He's the new ball boy. Bradley hasn't anything to worry about.
That's what Billingham told him. Dude, you won't get injured. It's great.
You can go on as many roller coasters as you want.
So
Well,
what's
let's hear
happening
about
with
this pod-a-thon.
So 24-hour pod-a-thon, August 10th through the 11th, and that's going to be the last, actually, the preseason game against Sevilla. So we'll do a live watch along for that as well. We are still looking for sponsors for the hours. So 100 to 250 to sponsor an hour. We're also going to have the silent auction. There's a bunch of stuff behind Cersei there, like signed jerseys and stuff like that from players like McAllister, Jota. There's that 701 signed by Carragher himself. A bunch of other items that, our fans like followers have donated. So those are going to be in the silent auction. And we're going to have a GoFundMe as well. The goal is to be able to hopefully accumulate as much as we can. They do a lot of great work. They, like orphanages, hospitals, and stuff like that. They do provide a lot of funds and support to as the Carragher Foundation. So we're using our powers for the good. 24-hour pod-a-thon. Tune in, keep us awake, and then let's make some money for the Jeremy Carragher Foundation.
And then is one of the things in the silent auction a signed Jamie Carragher
Himself, yes. He will
himself.
be
Yeah,
at your house.
signed Jamie Carragher.
It will make you spaghetti, yes.
For all
Piss
your
him off and he'll
Scouse
spit
needs.
on you, so be careful.
But now that's certainly something everybody
Just
should
lost
be
a
paying
sponsor.
attention. Everybody should be joining in. I think it'd be great if some mad lads and lasses could actually join us for the entire 24 hours. That would, just watching for 24 hours.
Yeah, that should be the challenge. Actually, join us. See if you can put up with us for 24 hours.
There was that one thing on TikTok where people are getting on flights and they're raw dogging. They're just sitting down on the chair for 8 hours without turning on a TV, without turning on anything. We should do that, and whoever can sit down and watch Timuchin for 24 hours, we'll give them the whole fucking channel. You can just take the whole thing.
I did that once, except it was on a bus and it was only for 15 minutes.
Exactly. No, try doing it for 24 hours listening to him.
It should be interesting. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, some of the sponsors are going to be hopping on. So there'll be several people. Obviously, you guys are going to be hopping on and off and stuff like that as well. So there'll be a lot of fun. There'll be a lot to talk about by then. We'll be talking about all the signings we did for one. But aside from that, it's going to be only a week from the season beginning. So we'll have a lot more, hopefully, concrete answers in terms of some transfers, outgoings, and stuff like that. And we'll be able to preview all the other Premier League teams as well.
So I think that's a fantastic event to be. I think it's our first major event, at least since I've been involved in American Scouser TV. And what better way to get people to be attracted to the channel as well by putting lunatics on it for 24 hours?
I think we might lose some people, eh?
Yeah, I think so too. But that's a risk we have to take, I guess.
That's
right?
a risk
Don't worry,
we have.
I'll be on late at night, like after 2 a.m., and I'll just be, hey guys, how don't worry, I got you guys. I'll put everybody to sleep.
I think we should have a sponsorship for Anand eating one donut per hour for the 24 hours.
Please.
I'll tell you this: I'm planning to be on between 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours, depending on what the nighttime looks like. For every donation we get, I'll eat 2 donuts.
Oh.
Wait. You realize that could be like
50 cents.
thousands of donuts.
Wait, hold
You
on.
could have
What did I
mustered
just sign up for?
12,
Hold on.
dude.
Wait, what did you say?
We clip that.
How much donuts
I
is
think
there?
we clip that and enforce you to eat like a couple of thousands. For every $1, you're gonna eat a couple of donuts.
No, I didn't say dollar. I said for every donation of $100 at least.
Oh, okay. there.
I just made that up.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
This will be on the social medias. We can check back to see what you actually said.
Oh boy, if you
Yep.
check back all the shit I said, I'd be in trouble. So let's
Right,
end it.
You'll be the size of me by the end of that night. But as with all things that are good, they must come to an end. So we are all off to our beddy
Not that
boys.
it has
in
anything to
pajamas.
do with this show, but
But we have the Thursday night podcast tomorrow. Make sure people are on board with that, and then the Friday morning, the morning coffee or tea. Even though I'm not there anymore to drink the tea, on Friday. And
tea drinkers.
I gotta get myself unemployed or something again. And then join our Discord, join our socials, our YouTube, or Facebook, or Instagram, or X, formerly known as Twitter, and our Patreon for the good stuff. That you got to be in the special club to get to see that stuff, but you should join it nonetheless. So thank you to Timuchin, thank you to Anand, thank you to Suzy. It's only lunchtime for Suzy all the way over there in California.
Yep.
And we will see everybody next time. Have a good evening. Enjoy the preseason. It's supposed to be fun. Have a good one and peace out.
Take care.